investors, we have a big problem with the National Association of Realtors and many of the real estate brokerage firms. This is not good for anybody in America and even worldwide, and I will explain why right now. A Kansas City jury has just found that the National Association of Realtors and several real estate brokerage firms have been found guilty of colluding to inflate or maintain high commission rates. But the worst part is that this may destroy real estate buyers agents in the process. The defendants, the National Association of Realtors and several brokerage firms like Keller Williams and Home Services of America, have been ordered to pay damages of $1,780,000,000. However, treble damages in this suit could result in the National Association of Realtors and these brokerages paying roughly $5,360,000,000. And aside from that $5.3 billion, it also opens the door to potential copycat lawsuits being filed by others in other states. The National Association of Realtors may just go bankrupt. They only have $1 billion in assets. With over $1 billion in assets and $340 million in annual revenue, the National Association of Realtors may be severely hindered by having to pay a large portion of this $5.36 billion, in addition to the other copycat lawsuits that could roll in really quickly. So the jury reached its verdict 2 weeks. 2 weeks of testimony. That was so fast. They found that the trade group and that these corporate brokerages knowingly violated their own rules in order to maintain high commission rates, ladies and gentlemen. And the judge who's overseeing the lawsuit still needs to issue his final judgment before the verdict is final, but he has wide latitude in issuing injunctive relief. So we're going to see exactly how this plays out. But this just occurred today, and the jury found against NAR and Keller Williams and Home Services America that they have to immediately pay $1.78 billion in damages, roughly going up to $5.3 billion or more when other states and other people start to catch on and file these copycat lawsuits. In a worst case scenario for these defendants, the judge could ban the cooperative compensation rule entirely for nationally on the MLS, the multiple listing services, which would prevent selling agents, listing agents, and home sellers from predetermining home buyer agents' commission rates. Ladies and gentlemen, I used to be a real estate agent here after the 2008 market crash, and things were rough. I specialized in renting high-end downtown Chicago real estate, and rentals were booming, and buying and selling was nearly non-existent. So to say that buyer's agents can no longer have a predetermined commission could all but kill the buyer's realtor in the United States of America. And this is not an over-exaggeration. This is a fact. So listing agents would be prohibited from sharing commission with buyer's agents. So the selling agent would not be able to share his commission with the buyer's agent. Do you understand? The buyer's agent commission rates would not be published in the MLS any further. This could potentially kill the entire buyer's agent market in the United States of America. A spokesperson for the National Association of Realtors said the trade group will obviously be appealing the jury's verdict and will ask the court to reduce the damages naturally. But is that going to happen? I have no fucking idea. I don't see it being very likely, I should say. And a spokesperson for Home Services, one of the brokerage firms, vowed to appeal the ruling as well. They said, today's decision means that buyers will face even more obstacles in an already challenging real estate market, and sellers will have a harder time realizing the value of their homes. It could also force home buyers to forego professional help during what is likely the most complex and consequential financial transaction they'll make in their lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been following this channel for any extended period of time, you know that I just sold my home in August of 2023, right near the top of the market. And I could not be happier that I did, because had I held on to it, or if I tried to sell later on, I may have ended up severely underwater. But I did not use a seller's agent. I used myself and listed it as for sale by owner. I got my asking price. I was very happy, and we sold and closed. We sold and had an offer in about 30 days, and I was turning people away from my home, given my home was probably one of the nicest homes in the neighborhood, if not the largest as well. But most people are not going to be able to do that because they don't have the experience of having, years in the real estate industry. So that is definitely going to be very difficult for people. In addition, buyer's agents are going to get basically pushed out the door. A seller's agent can sell directly to you without you having a buyer's agent and be a dual representative. That is legal in my former state of Illinois, as long as you sign a document. And other people will also be able to do that around the country, thereby making the buyer's agent almost unnecessary as well. Now, that can have some conflict of interest because a seller's agent may want to sell the home for the highest possible price so they can maximize their commission, but that's exactly what this lawsuit is all about. So this is only the first of 3 separate class action lawsuits. So we're just getting started. And the plaintiffs that in the subsequent cases are also closely watching. And even as we speak about this, there are rapidly modifying strategies that are going to be even more effective. As Yogi Berra once said, it ain't over till it's over. So what will be the outcome? We keep hearing that this case has potential to change the real estate industry, but no one really knows exactly how that's going to happen. But if you look around, you will see that that's already happening. 2 weeks ago, the Real Estate Board of New York and the Residential Listing Service modified their rules that starting January 1st of 2024, they will prohibit listing brokers from paying buyers' agents and will instead require the seller to pay the buyer's agents directly if they chose to pay them at all. Now, I will give you a little food for thought. I didn't have a seller's agent. I acted as my own agent and sold my home by owner and offered the buyer's agent a 2% commission. Therefore, I didn't pay anything to the seller's agent because I was my own agent. And instead of paying a 3% or higher commission to the buyer's agent, I offered them 2%. Meanwhile, other brokerage firms were offering 2.5 to 3% and higher. And I still sold my home, had an offer at my asking price in 30 days, which was very fair. So the rule change will prohibit listing brokers from paying buyers' agents and will instead require sellers to pay them directly if they choose to pay them at all. Therefore, kicking the buyer's agent out the door. And if that person wants to buy your home, they even have to pay them out of their own pocket, the buyer's pocket, or the seller would have to do. And I know a lot of buyers are sure as hell not going to pay an agent because they show them houses. This is a game changer in the real estate market and potentially can destroy the real estate buyer's agent entirely in the United States of America. So it seems that we're headed to a future where each agent has to pay their own client. And that's not going to fucking happen. Any smart person will not have a buyer's agent. All you really need to purchase a home is a real estate attorney. And this is not financial advice, so do your own due diligence, do whatever the hell you want. But this will conceivably bypass buyer's agents altogether. And truthfully, the outcome of these 3 lawsuits, one of which has just been filed, found to cause damages over $5.3 billion, which now the National Association of Realtors and brokerage firms have to pay. But there are still 2 more class action lawsuits, and this will reduce the real estate agent population in the United States without question. Without question. On top of the already collapsing housing market. And if you think your housing market is still strong because you're located in Florida or some other state where things are hot as hell, give it a little bit of time because winter is coming. I assure you that. So the licensee The agent is going to be forced to have an actual conversation with the buyer about how they're going to get paid up front. And many people are going to run away from that, say, I'll get a real estate attorney to handle this for me for $550. I don't need a buyer's agent. I don't need to pay you 2 or 3% commission to show me some homes. I can call up the selling agents and go visit the homes on my own time. That being said, the National Association of Realtors has succumbed to the seductive whispering of MLS dividend checks instead of doing what's right for their members and for the consumer. That's how they've ended up in this place. And existing home sales, ladies and gentlemen, existing home sales have plunged 32% from this same time period in 2021 and 25% from 2019. So the numbers are nowhere near what they were to the pre-cerveza sickness, we'll call it. The pricing data from the Census Bureau about new home sales does not include the cost of mortgage rate buy downs by home builders. New home sales are hot only because builders are buying down that 8% interest rate to 4% for a couple of years in order to entice buyers by subsidizing the mortgage payment. But when the introductory APR is over, the home buyer will be forced to refinance when the balloon rate catches up to them. And if they can't afford the current interest rate of mortgages at that time, they will end up defaulting on their home loan entirely after having already paid tens of thousands of dollars on it. Or alternatively, even if they can't afford it, if the home no longer appraises because the value of real estate has collapsed or even drawn down 5 to 10%, if the home no longer appraises in about 2 years or 3 years when they need to refinance, it doesn't matter if they can afford it because no bank in the world will finance that home for more than its appraisal value. The real estate buyers agents are going the way of the buffalo, to recap. And with it, many more people will join the unemployment pool, and this will further plunge the United States of America into a recession. This is a fucking black swan that nobody saw coming. Nobody. Make sure you're properly hedged. Make sure you act accordingly. I wish you peace and wealth. Have a great day.